What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 5 of the Solana dashboard series. Today we're going to talk about bots. So I'm going to walk through some methodologies and really how you can use labeling of these bots to improve your analysis here. So let's take a closer look at this. So here I'm really just comparing how many bots what is the bot volume on these launch pads? And I found it really interesting that, on Pump Fun, almost 33% of the volume is attributed to a bot here, given our methodology. My Moonshot's a little bit lower than that. So let's take a look at our methodology. And before I dive into this, I just want to say this is the fun part, I think, of being a data analyst, is you really have this full freedom to create your own methodology based on research and insights that you can draw from the community. And what I'm doing here is I also want to say, keep it simple. Unless you really are making critical business decisions or have a really good understanding of bot activity on a specific blockchain, try and keep it as simple as possible. And that's what I did here. And I actually can't take credit for this methodology. I did take it or borrow it from the Dune team. I'm not sure if Andrew made it or someone else at Dune, but thanks for putting it together. I thought it was really simple, and let's walk through it a little bit here. So overall, what we're doing is we're looking at launch pads, we're looking at traders, we're grabbing all the distinct traders on Solana. And then what we're going to do is we're going to calculate the number of transactions that they've signed and the number of failed transactions that they've signed. And this is really what's important here. I'll explain this in the next line. So how we're filtering out these bots is we're basically saying, hey, if a user or a signer has failed more than 25% of their transactions, it's most likely a bot. We want to filter that out. But we're also saying if they've also signed more than 15,000 transactions, that's also a pretty common bot behavior. So we're going to filter that out as well. Now you're kind of wondering, where did we get these numbers from? This 25%, I feel like, is a really safe number, and it's kind of what I'm seeing based on some data from Helios, which I feel like is a pretty reputable company on Solana, is they approximate that about 8% of failed transactions were only initiated by users. That means the rest are bots for the most part. So I feel like 8%, we want to add some padding onto that. We want to make sure we don't have any false positives. So bumping that up to 25% feels pretty safe. And then if you have sort of any experience sleuthing around on Solana, you know that these bots have a really high frequency of trades. I have seen like some real users around like 10,000 trades who are really active. So I felt like 15,000 was a safe number here to really isolate those bots. So really that combination there is all we're doing to isolate bots. And this can get extremely more technical and in-depth. Again, I recommend reading this article by A16Z by Darren and Eddie. They talk about sort of their methodologies and how they isolate bots. And a lot of this kind of comes from what I think would be like Sybil analysis. A lot of this looks familiar to that, but some really good points here. If you want to dive deeper, you can use these combinations and stack them on top of one another to isolate bots. All right, so using our simple analysis, we're going to go ahead and add that to our Pump Fun volume. And we ran through volume previously, so I won't go through this whole query. I do want to go through the part that I'm adding where I'm saying, hey, this was a bot, this is a real person. And that's just the simple case logic I'm putting in here. I'm saying, hey, when from that table that we just talked about, we joined bots. When it's null, basically when the signer isn't in that table, it's a person, else it's a bot. So we basically built this whole table to pull me all the signers I think are bots. And we got about 13 million there, which again, just off the top of the head seems pretty reasonable for the behavior on Solana. Yeah, and if we run that and we do the same thing for Moonshot, we get our final results. So this is just a really simple KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. And they have a nice materialized table here that you can reference yourself as well, pull it into your analysis and look at it a bunch of different ways. If I wanted to go deeper, probably could have looked at number of traders that were bots. I think volume is a little bit more interesting because usually it's a small number of bots that are doing a lot of volume. So in this case, I think volume is probably the better one to look at. All right, guys, that was a quick one today. We ran through volume and how to label bots. I think for the last episode of the series, I'm going to walk through some of the data visualization here and how I structure a dashboard. I think that's really important as a data analyst to be able to present your data in a manner that's easily digestible and also simple enough on your end so that you can evaluate it. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one.